As the U.S. economy begins to open up in various states across the country, what will higher education look like in the fall? To discuss how these universities are opening up, we're pleased to be joined by Christopher Ice. He's the president of Ave Maria University in Naples, Florida, and Dr. Timothy Trainor, president of Mount St. Mary's University in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Gentlemen, thank you both for being with us. President Trainor, I want to start with you. How did you come to the decision to have person-to-person classes scheduled to resume this fall, and how does that square with Maryland's reopening?
Well, good afternoon, Ray. Thanks for having me on here. We have been following a set of guiding principles in our planning, and those principles are first and foremost the health and safety of our community, the success of our students in executing our mission to graduate ethical leaders who are inspired by a passion for learning and lead lives of significance and service to God and others. We're going to continue to be flexible, just like we were when we transitioned to remote instruction in March. And then we're going to emphasize the empathy for everyone, because everyone's experience has been different here. Our plan squares well with the governor's plan. The governor here in Maryland has started what he calls stage one, effective tomorrow, of his roadmap to recovery plan. And we expect to be in stage two, which allows us a return to campus in a controlled environment, meaning exercising social distancing, having appropriate health and safety protocols in place, like the wearing of face masks, physical distancing, and social distancing protocols. And we have a plan. We've been planning for many scenarios, and we're going to continue to plan over the summer. But we feel confident that we can have some students on campus and some connecting in remotely, whether they're in the classroom, in a different part of the campus, or at home for the first semester. So we're
President Ice, let me get to President Ice. Even after you began online classes in March, 21% of the Ave Maria student body chose to stay on campus because it was safer for some than traveling back home. Now, Ave Maria has 0 cases of COVID-19. What sorts of social distancing guidelines or other measures did you put in place to keep students safe?
Well, basically what we did was we went to the online format in March, but we allowed students who felt more comfortable to stay here than to travel. Some of them international students, others in the hotbeds of New York or Michigan even. So we allowed them to do it, and we said, if you leave, you can't come back. But as long as we had plans in place for quarantining if need be. We had students that were, again, separating and some of that, but we closed down the recreational facilities and some of that. So it certainly wasn't a wonderful experience like they would normally have. But again, a lot of the students felt safe and they were still able to interact with the community. We also had continued to receive Holy Communion. Each day we had virtual mass, and then the priest, our bishop, allowed our priest to come outside and distribute Holy Communion, which was a beautiful opportunity for students to continue the sacraments. So that was it was different, but we had that opportunity and we took advantage of it, and many students did as well. So.
How will life change for those Ave Maria students returning in the fall?
Well, we're planning on all the students to return. We do have all the proper precautions, as Dr. Raynor mentioned at the Mount St. Mary's. We're putting in place the social distancing, and especially within the classroom. That's some of our plans. Again, with the dormitories and that, we may have distancing, some of that as well. We're doing all the cleaning and all those type of things as well.
President Trainor, some universities are looking at having limited housing available on campus with single dorm rooms only. Will there be any of those changes on your campus?
Yeah, yes. We're working through that plan right now. Our campus housing for students varies building by building in terms of the number of students would normally be in a room, the amenities. And so we're developing a plan building by building now. There'll be some restrictions in place to enforce social distancing. Don't know exactly what they'll be, but we'll have some students living on campus, but not as many as in a normal year.
I'm going to give each of you a crack at this. I'll start with President Ice. Is there any reluctance on the part of your students? Have you heard from them a reluctance to return to campus, given what they're seeing in the media, the constant death count? And let's face it, there's a lot of fear out there. I'll start with you, President Ice.
Yes, there is a segment of the student population that's concerned, as well as their parents, about returning to campus. And but I also believe that there's a large segment that do not like the online courses. They prefer to have the in-person interaction and those relationships. And that's, I've had a lot of saying we thought online might be the way to go. It might be fun. It was great for a week. But after that, we miss our friends, we miss those relationships we built, and we're anxious to get back on campus, and we're anxious to have them back. That is our campus, is student interaction. So,
President Trainor, your reaction. What are your students telling you?
Yeah, ours has been very similar to what Chris has said. Our students, we found, really miss being on campus. They love the environment and really miss their friends and the faculty and staff. So after I made the announcement on Friday, I did receive one note from a parent and from a student of concern. But they wanted to know, would they have the opportunity if they felt concerned about coming back onto campus, whether they were immune compromised themselves or they had somebody at home that was immune compromised. They didn't want to bring anything back to them. Would they be able to do their coursework remotely for a semester? And I said, yes, and that's why we're doing some technology investment to enable that. So if students don't feel comfortable for some reason, they'll be able to stay home for a semester and continue their education remotely. But the vast majority want to be on campus.
Yeah, I know my son's going into his senior year, and though you're right, as Christopher said, he enjoyed it for about a week, the remote stuff. He's ready to get back to campus. He's raring to go. The University of Michigan estimates that it may lose up to $1 billion by the end of the year due to this pandemic. Now, hundreds of schools, including some with huge endowments, Duke University and Virginia Tech and Brown, have announced hiring freezes. Have you all had to cut or reduce staff? I'll start with Christopher Ice.
Yes, we have put a hiring freeze in place, and we do have to be, cognizant of the fact that people, it's not just impacting enrollment, it's impacting our benefactors as well, who are being hurt financially and may not be able to give as much. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, but we have instituted a hiring freeze, and then we've also just continued to look and to monitor all the areas of expenses that we can, and working through this new budget cycle coming up on July 1. So,
Timothy Trainor, have you all had to cut back on staff?
Oh, no, not yet. We same thing. We have a hiring freeze in place. We committed to not furloughing or laying anybody off through the end of this fiscal year, which ends at the end of June. We did some tiered salary reductions. And some reduction of contributions to the retirement accounts for April, May, and June to to allow us to keep everybody fully employed through June. We've committed to that. We're looking at the financial ramifications of fiscal year 21. A lot depends on the extent to which we can open in the fall. So we're still working through that.
Well, I hope that everybody can get back to campus. I know that's where students want to be, and it's where parents want them to be, too. So, gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Before we go, Christopher, I want to express our condolences on the passing of your dear wife. She's in our prayers, as are you, and we're with you in this difficult time. Gentlemen, thank you both for being with us.